What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, aka Galaxy God, back with another video. In today's video, I have a pure Galaxy Eyes list for the updated format. It's a new format, new ban list equals new Galaxy Eyes deck profile. At this point, you guys should already know. It should just mark it on your calendar. When there's a ban list, it's probably gonna be a new Galaxy updated list. Which I typically do that with all of my decks that I usually typically post. This is going to be a pure version because I know the Horus cards have kind of jumped up in price. I'm still kind of back and forth because the format's still well new. So like I don't know which one is the best one to run, because if we're required to have more non-engine, then potentially this is the best one. But the maximize consistency, then the Horus build is the better option. But I also wanted to give a budget alternative for my budget players out there. Granted, there are two cards in this deck, one in particular that is not budget friendly, but we will tackle that when we get there. But I play tested this deck a lot ever since the ban list. Since we pretty much had 2 weeks before the ban list was finalized, I pretty much used those 2 weeks. Besides figure out what else I was going to play, I was trying to figure out this list for you guys, because I know not everyone can afford the Horus cards. So let's go ahead and get into this. Before we get fully into this, if you don't mind, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe, bell notification so you never miss an upload. Check the description for all the ways to support me, my affiliate links and Discord and Patreon, all that good stuff's down there below as well. And leave a comment and let me know if you're going to be playing this deck for this upcoming format, and how long you've been playing Galaxy Eyes. Start out, we got 3 of your boy. Nothing needs to be said here. Standard hand grave deck. It's been that rotation for years now. So yeah, just 3 Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. 3 of the best starter we currently have. 3 Wizard. Wizard is Wizard. There's nothing really need to be said. He's not a once per turn. You just abuse and loop him. 3 of the second OG starter, Galaxy Soldier. He's the second alternative to a starter to Wizard, because he can get you to Wizard. He gets you to anything else, and he's just overall a very good card. Then we got 2 Brave. I'm opting to run 2 Brave because at this current state of the game, I see him as a starter. Because him and any Photon name gets a name on board, and that's what this deck cares about, is names on board. So I see him as a starter. So in theory, it gives us, in the form of monsters, we have 8 starters: 3 Wizard, 3 Soldier, and 2 Brave. You just want to maximize consistency of being able to see names. Then the one-ofs, we got 1 Afterglow, 1 Summoner, and 1 Cleric for the Galaxy portion of the one-offs. I know a lot of people like to run more, but it's just not my play style personally. Because I can get instant access to this when I want, and it's not a starter, and it's not really an extender. It only becomes a pseudo extender when you have a name on board and you've already established yourself. So that's why this is the priority, like secondary normal summon after you resolve Wizard and get your second normal summon in rotation with Emperor. And Cleric's just there for the grind game because it's Pot of Avarice on legs, and the standard Zeus combo that I made viable like 3 years ago still comes up to this day. So, but other than that, like, it's pretty straightforward. This has been my ratios forever now, since Photon Hypernova, pretty much. But yeah, nothing needs to be said. Standard drip fashion. On to the Photons. I'm on 3 Orbital. There was a time where when I was playtesting, I was kind of dropping this down to 2, because it's not really a starter, but you have to commit a name on board first before it becomes a starter. So it's like the worst starter, but until we get better support, or we get the new card, the new level 4 or whatever, this will probably stay at 2. Stay at 3. 2 Jumper, because 3 is way too fucking many. 2 is the sweet spot. You typically can loop this from grave to hand if you need to, and you need one for this turn 2. You use one turn 1 to play around draw. Like your number 1 play before you do anything else, before you search, you need to be dumping this to add trance, because I don't give a shit if it's game 1 or what. You need to be dumping this to get access to trance, because trance is the only way to play through draw. If you don't have access to trance or expedition in hand, but preferably trance because expedition requires you to have a level 5 or higher on board, you're not playing through draw. So when you're playing this deck, you need to prioritize playing around the number 1 crit points, and the 2 crit points is one, any deck that denies its board presence, and the main one being draw and lockbird. So you need one for turn 1, and then you need one for turn 2. So after that, you should kill them. If not, then you're just playing the deck wrong. I'm sorry. Prime is prime, and he kills when he kills, and if he doesn't kill, then it's not his fault. It's yours. But yeah, 2 is perfect. It's going to trigger a lot of people, but only 1 Vanisher, 1 Advancer, 1 Emperor. You only need to resolve this once. Other than that, it doesn't really do much besides provide a body. Advancer is actually freaking cracked. The reason being is because if you search him if you already have everything you need and you search him off of Galaxy Photon Dragon, the rank 4, you can summon this, make him an 8, or you can summon him and make him a 4, keep him a 4. So he's more of a free extender than any of the other ones, pretty much. Granted, you could say the same thing about Vanisher. It's just I don't want to brick on same names. I just want to have a versatile engine, basically. And for the people who are not familiar with my deck profiles, I'm not running Thrasher because I like Thrasher, but like Thrasher is just he's not a starter. He's only a starter if you draw him in tandem with like Vanisher, Advancer, or Orbital. And after turn 1, he's a dead card because you can't special him unless you have no monsters on board. So other than that, I don't want to see him. So I haven't ran Vanisher in years, and I haven't had problems. And most of the people who've watched my videos forever now have followed suit with me and haven't missed him as well. So, but that's it for the Photon lineup. On to the non-engine. In hand traps, since we're not running the Horus cards, we have a lot more room in this build to run non-engine in the form of hand traps. So my hand traps are going to be 3 Ash. Sorry about that. I was trying to find my other copy of this card that I'm about to show, but I couldn't find it because it was stuck under the Ash Blossom. But we got 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Imperm. That's the standard lineup. I've made 9 the lineup a long time ago. If you've been following the channel for a long time, I figured out 9 is like the maximum you can run. You're not as good as the other decks and be able to run 12 without taking a traumatic hit to your consistency. But hand trap wise, this is early stages of the format, so this is what's good right now. Granted, it's subject to change depending on how the format shifts. It's just they're the overall most generic. On to the spells. I talked to the Discord gang talking about how this is probably going to be one of the new consistency cards moving forward. Granted, I can't take full credit of this because that gentleman who topped the regionals when it was at 1 with it, but I'm pretty. I haven't seen anybody else bump this to 3, at least online after doing it. So, but through testing, this card's absolutely cracked and has 0 drawback for us. That's 3 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin has 0 drawbacks in this deck because we don't give a crap about giving them 1,000 life points, even if we resolve it and give them 3,000, because Prime's just going to punch them in the nose for 20,000 anyways. So who gives a shit? And this deck has so many 1 to 2 card combos. This card just fuels that and has 0 drawback. I'm not playing trade-in anymore because trade-in requires setup and you have to have a level 8 in hand. Granted, we run a fair amount of level 8s, but I don't want to be able to be forced to not be able to draw unless I have a level 8 in hand. So I don't like that. And then I'm not running Small World right now because there's no real reason to, because like our deck is fairly consistent as it is, and there's nothing really that we need to go absolutely get like it was when we needed Wizard or nothing or bust. And Goblin just gets us there because, like I said a second ago, this deck, all you need is basically two names of any cards basically that are Galaxy or Photon, and you can just go off. And on top of that, if you go off anyways and just hold this until the end of your combo, you use this to draw into a non-engine like an Imperm, Ash, or Nib, then you're just gassed out. So, through testing, it's been absolutely insane. It's actually very insane. I do not miss trade-in at all, or Small World. 3 Galaxy 100 is standard. Like I tell you guys in my previous videos, I like this when it's at 3 to match the of number of targets, and these are the best targets. Granted, it can dump anything, but the best targets. So we got 3 of these, matching 3 of these. You run 3 of these, 1 of these, and 2 of these, then you're just bricking. And the only time you're going to like plus is if you draw 1 of these with a Galaxy Soldier. Other than that, then you're not going to get much plus off of it. But yeah, 300 because I got 3 targets. My deck's all mixed up now. For the random one-ofs now, I got 1 Trance because you recycle it with Cleric, 1 Expedition because it's just 1. It requires setup, so you don't want to play too many cards that require setup. And then 1 Talent. I was playing 2, but I didn't want to play 41 cards, and I didn't want to see multiple. So when you see it, it's gas, and when you don't, it's fine because you have Upstart Goblin. I'm not running Numbers Last Hope only because I'm running so much non-engine. On top of that, it requires setup, and it's really good. I mean, it is really good to search on your follow-up to be able to use during turn 2 to push for more and kill them. But I feel like if you set up your board, it's hard for them to kill it anyways because they can't target your crap, and so much in this game targets. And then hand traps plus 90 plus Soul Flare is a lot to play through, and potentially ripping 2 from their extra deck anyways. It's really hard for them to play through that. And not only that, you're searching to follow up with number 90 on their turn anyway, so the crackback is actually insane. So I feel like it's not very needed right now, unless Baguska becomes very very necessary to run. With that, if that is the case, then I would potentially swap for Numbers Last Hope. I'm also not running number 38 in this build because I'm not running Horus, and there's our entire arsenal of rank 8s are better than that card right now with this build, because there's not stopping 1 spell is not going to do anything in this format. It's not like a branded warped format to where it would actually matter or something like that. So stopping 1 spell is not going to stop your opponent. They'll just keep pushing through it. So other than that, there's no real reason to do it because we can easily make Prime when we want to without that card. So it's more of a win more card and worse Trance. But I do like the card. It's just format based. Like you hear me say, that's like my religion word that I say, format based for all my cards. But that's it for the main deck. Clean 40. Like I said, I've been testing it a lot, and it's really insane what the deck can do. Moving forward, two Soul Flare. Soul Flare is Soul Flare. It's been our bread and butter for years now, so I don't really need to say nothing. And then one of the non-budget cards, which is the main non-budget card, and it's actually insane what this card can do in this deck, which there's not that goes without being said because this card is absolutely cracked in to begin with. But that's 1 Little Knight. Little Knight's very insane. Definitely when you can break an entire board with Cipher Blade, full armor, and this, and it's just so insane. But yeah, Little Knight is Little Knight, and dodging target effects is really nice too. Later on down the road, like if you're getting yourself in a grind game. 2 money cards. 2 is the necessary amount, no less, no more. You can't get away with 1. You just can't. I'm sorry. X Cipher, my boy, my favorite one, full armor. Cipher Blade. This is basically the Cipher package, even though full armor is not, but you get what I mean. Easy rank up shenanigans. Yeah, I put Cipher Blade back in compared to my last list when I didn't run him. But yeah, One thing I want to say real quick is if you don't have money for Little Knight and you don't want to invest in it, um, I would recommend you doing so because the whole entire year of 2024 and onward, potentially, unless they do something to it, is going to be um, Little Knight format mandatory to have. But if you don't have access to it and don't want to, and just say I don't care about this game, I'm just going to do me, then put Bujinki Ashima back in because it could pop random back row cards, and it can help you make any rank 8 or rank 4 if you want. I know Bujinki is not as impactful anymore when since we're not running Sanctuary any longer, but it is still a very solid card nonetheless, and still helps you play through certain shenanigans. Moving on, we got the boy, Mr. OTK himself, Prime, Prime on steroids. Yeah, literally OTK machines, breakboards. That's what we do. Moving forward with the rank 4s, just two, obviously, Photon Dragon and Starliege Photon Blast. Nothing needs to be said about this. This is standard protection and consistency. Now we got the last two cards of the deck. We got Zeus, and then the other non-budget card, even though it's fairly budget compared to Little Knight, is Zeus's brother, Typhon, aka Emperor Zurg, because my boy looks like Emperor Zurg from like a buff Emperor Zurg from Buzz Lightyear Toy Story. Shout outs to Toy Story. But yeah, these two, I think Zeus is still like needs to be played. Because like I think the way the format's going to shift with Fire Kings and stuff, their stuff requires being destroyed. So sometimes we're not going to be able to make like our full armors and all that stuff. So Zeus being able to just nuke the board without destruction is going to be very insane. It also plays around their Sanctuary from protecting their field spell. And if you don't know, their field spell is basically like an Eternal Soul for like how Dark Magician's Eternal Soul is. When it leaves the field, it destroys their field. So it blows up their board. Which is kind of unfortunate because it procs all their effects and they can kind of rebuild their board. But that's another reason why Little Knight is like so important. You can just banish it, but after saying that, I just caught myself because their field spell is the same thing. If it's destroyed or banished, it can nuke the field. So, but either way, this is why it's important. So it prevents it from destruction, and it just doesn't proc anything. It just completely board wipes everything, and we can make a huge Zeus. And you just use the Zeus combo that I made years ago, and just keep Luke and Cleric and this, and just keep making a huge ass Zeus. So, but yeah, Typhon. I know Typhon is like kind of counterproductive considering all our stuff's above 3K, but yeah, I still think it's mandatory to be able to break boards. And anytime you need to get rid of this card, you just tribute over it or you link it away for Little Knight on turn 2, and then you're freed up again. So this card's just too free. But that's it for the main deck and the extra deck. Clean 15, clean 40. I love this deck. I love this list. This list is absolutely fire, dude. No side deck for this one because it's not a tournament deck, but I will say the side deck that I kind of have picked out for the early stage of the format, I'll go ahead and list it off to you just because I want to help you guys get a head start. 3, Ghost Bell. Ghost Bell because Fire Kings and Labyrinth and any other graveyard shenanigans, but mainly those two. Drone Lockbird because some Fire King versions play heavily into Droll. Definitely the Tri Brigade versions and the Dogmatica version. So those play heavily into Droll. Then one Duster because it's just standard. That's like in every single side deck. I'm currently on 3 Cosmic Cyclone. The reason being is because Runic is making a comeback, and on top of that, I'm terrified of Centurion. I don't want that trash deck skipping my turn for no reason, just because they have access to 12s and be able to make King Calamities. Other than that, that deck is fucking garbage. So I don't want a garbage deck beating my best deck just off of a card that I can't respond to. Then I got 3 Evenly Matched because Evenly Matched puts in work against Labyrinth, obviously, in any back row deck. But Evenly Matched, ironically, destroys, just crucifies Fire Kings, man. And if anybody tries to tell you otherwise, they're just lying. evenly matched is going to find its way back into the format. So like, yeah. Then I got two um, Tachyon. Not three. You don't need three. Not right now, at least. You need more generic cards. Two Tachyon. I'm not running Pankratops inside because, like I said, Fire Kings requires no destruction, and we have plenty of ways to like make an inherent summon before activating effect, kind of, sort of, like to be able to prevent like a Little Knight effect from resolving. But even if Little Knight resolves, then we're still probably fine. So that needs to be said there. But that's actually it from my early stages of the side deck. If you have any other questions or watching this video later on down the road and the format is more well adapted and stuff, and you have any questions like side decks or any tips or anything, just let me know in the comment section down below or hit me up in the Discord. I'll be glad to help you guys. I read all the comments. I really do. But I'm done here rambling. This is my discussion videos too. So you know me, when I make videos, I make profiles and I make discussions to set you guys up for success, because that's all I want, is for you all to succeed. But with that being said, please smash that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already as well. Become a member of the D.D.D fam, and I love you so much for it. Check the description for all the ways to support me, and comment down below what you guys thought. But until next time, it's your boy, Brennan, a.k.a. Drip, a.k.a. Galaxy God. Sign out till next time. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.